How's everyone doing? It's Scape, your boy, and uh, I just thought I should record something and talk. I just kind of wanted to like talk a little bit, and frankly, I don't have much else going on right now. I just got some surgery and I'm at home for a bit, covering. And I thought, and while I'm out, while I'm recovering, I'm thinking, man, like there's been a couple medical things coming up lately, like it's getting a little out of hand. And as I think that, my phone goes off, and I get a notification from like some app, I don't know, but something notifies me that Akira Toriyama has passed away. This happened last night, 10 p.m. And I was literally just in awe. Like, I didn't even know like what to. I thought it was a joke at first. I thought someone was playing a joke, was playing a prank, right? Someone's just being really cruel right now, and it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's Akira Toriyama had passed away March 1st, and we hadn't, just the public hadn't found out until March 7th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this hurt. This was a big deal. I'm sure you don't. I'm sure if you're an anime fan, you're probably aware of Dragon Ball Z. Well, Dragon Ball Z is kind of the granddaddy of shonen battle manga. It shaped and inspired so much of what's out there today. So many different animes reference Dragon Ball Z, even cartoons, even Western animation. Codename Kids Next Door referenced the Frieza saga and Super Saiyan in an episode with Number 4 and the delightful kids from down the lane, I believe they're named. And then, years later, in the amazing world of Gumball, Gumball's talking to his siblings and he says something about like, oh, you just gotta power up and get mad. And he references Gohan transforming into Super Saiyan 2. Just outright. And, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. There's so much Dragon Ball everywhere you look, if you look for it. And that's really, really special. That's not something you just get with any property, And it's not something that you just get from any recent property. Like, sometimes you'll have a new piece of media come out that references something else popular that released within the last couple years. Sometimes it's self-referential, or sometimes it's something completely like unique. For example, in Spider-Man No Way Home, this is the film immediately following Endgame, and in the movie, Peter comes out swinging with a makeshift like mace and a shield, all torn off like concrete and like rebar and stuff, and it's just a bunch of trash, right? But it's so clearly referencing Cap fighting Thanos with Mjolnir and his shield, right? I think they even play like a similar music cue. And that's like in universe and like self-referential to its own like properties, right? But it doesn't diminish the fact that this was like a big cultural phenomenon, at the very least within its own like niche, within its own area, right? But Dragon Ball has been referenced for 39 years. since release by so much. And one in particular that stands out to me a lot is Sonic the Hedgehog. I grew up with Dragon Ball Z Kai and Sonic, specifically the adventure era of Sonic, that early 2000s, late 90s, you know, old voice actors, you know, Ryan Drummond and all that. And I usually refer to this like kind of mood and tone of Sonic as like Shonen Sonic, because it so is. It just is, like, at least to me. A lot of the themes and ideas tackled in the adventure games, and like the way characters were and stuff, it just feels so like shonen in a way. Especially the way like Shiro Maikawa wrote Sonic and Shadow. And this is and it's not just in the way like characters were done and all that stuff. Sonic from the jump has been Dragon Ball reference, has had Dragon Ball references, at the very least since it's the second game, because I'm sure if you're a Sonic fan, you know, you're aware of Super Sonic. And I'm sure if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you're aware of Super Saiyan. And, well, in the concept art for Sonic 2, for Super Sonic, he's literally, like, depicted in the exact, like, it's framed and shot and composed, like, the exact same way Goku's iconic, like, angry glare at Frieza is shown. You know? That exact, like, panel in the manga, as well as, you know, those frame that shot in the anime, is directly referenced in the concept art for Super Sonic. Like, it's not a secret that Sonic takes inspiration from Dragon Ball Z, you know, at the very least, Dragon Ball Z, right? And I think that's just like beautiful, because to think that two separate properties independently have such an influence on my life, independent of each other, and yet inspired by like one another, or at the very least one was inspired by, you know, the other. You know, maybe that says something about me and what I'm just predisposed to like, or maybe I just saw something in the other that made me think of the other one. But these two franchises and sets of characters have shaped so much of me. And it's really sad knowing that Toriyama is he's gone. He created something that is so dear to me, and it's gonna live on forever, like beyond him. Dragon Ball has already exceeded Toriyama himself, you know? And man, even as recent as Sonic Frontiers, and I wish I could show this my initial reaction to this moment, but in Sonic Frontiers, the first Titan you fight, Giganto, Sonic takes him out the exact same way Goku defeated King Piccolo. And I saw that, and I was like, no, there's no way he just King Piccolo'd him. And that attack is not just from King Piccolo, because it ends up being reworked and like that attack is reworked later into the series with the Dragon Fist. And it's such an iconic Goku-ism, the to shoot through the enemy with your whole body. Like, that's a Goku thing. Like, no one else really does that in the series. He did it against King Piccolo, he did it against Hirudegarn, he did it against Super 17, and he did it against Omega Shenron. And that's a non-canon technique, but it's inspired by one of the most iconic moments in the series, him defeating King Piccolo. And that was referenced in Sonic Frontiers. Like, and it was graphic too. It was like, wow, they're not even holding back. They really going full hog on this one. Like, Giganto's like guts essentially were like fucking, sorry, I cursed, but they were just blowing out like in the air. Like, it was awesome. It was so raw that they even like did that, right? And I was so happy to see it as a Dragon Ball fan. I was like, that's so cool that's here. Like, that Dragon Ball is still referencing, that Dragon Ball is still influencing Sonic all this time later, you know? And not only that, but then we get in the Sonic Frontiers DLC, in the Final Horizon, what do we get? We get what the fans have been calling Super Sonic 2. But, you know, in reality, it's almost closer to like Super Kaioken, in a way how it's a super form boosted with like a separate power source or technique, right? Or if you really want to get a little silly with it, you could think about it like in Sonic RPG, which is a fan game, how Sonic goes hyper, I believe, in episode 8? No, episode 9. Or no, I think it's episode 10. Sorry, I have hiccups. Or if you really want to get silly with it, you know, you could look at it like Sonic RPG, where I believe Sonic is using the sapphire. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but in Knights' world, there's this sapphire that's similar to the Master Emerald, and he's using that in addition to the his Chaos Emeralds to go hyper. So there's just something really like sweet about that this is a thing that keeps happening in the series, adjacent to it, you know, also, right? But it's just really, really sweet that something as classic as King Piccolo's demise is still referenced as recent as Sonic Frontiers, you know? Like, I'm getting off tangent, and I should probably get back on point, so let me but there's just this, like, I don't even... Dragon Ball is just... And just outside of, you know... And, you know, outside of Sonic and itself, right? Dragon Ball's given me so many fun moments, and it's allowed me to make some really, really good friends who are also just in love with the series, you know. I recently did a tier list with two of my friends, and a third one who joined us at the end, talking about the Dragon Ball movies, specifically the original 13 and the Super movies. And I ended up posting about this list in separate parts, and I got so into it, like talking about these, and my friends noticed it. They told me like we see it when we read like the posts, and I really got into these. I started hitting them with like clips of, so of the highest rated movies. I started putting separate posts out just to appreciate them on their own, with clips and screenshots that aren't even, they're not on the internet. I had to go rewatch these movies and get those screenshots and put them in and edit them together. Well, not edit them, but put them into the post. And I had to choose like which one I wanted, cuz you can only put so many images on. And I just had so much fun gushing about these movies that we loved watching, and we came out of them with different opinions than a lot of the fan base, which is just another like beautiful thing, that people can love a series for such different reasons and still come together for something like this, where we can all come together and acknowledge the greatness of what Toriyama created, and that we love it so much, all for different reasons, and what it means to us, what these series and what it means to us. And now we have Dragon Ball Superhero, we have Super Broly and Superhero, which are the last two like movies that Toriyama's gonna have like any direct involvement with, and not only that, but on the way we have Dragon Ball Daima, which at this point in time is still unreleased. It's early March 2024, and it's still not out. But that's the last thing Toriyama had worked on, and it's the last thing Dragon Ball related. And wouldn't you know it, it's about Kid Goku, where it all almost comes full circle. And so many people were giving Daima a lot of crap, and we're not really giving it a chance. And that also just shows you like what people go to Dragon Ball for. A lot of people aren't there for the same reasons as everyone else. But now Daima's gonna be the last thing we have from Toriyama, and I think everyone's gonna be able to like come together and appreciate it for that fact. It's gonna be an interesting landscape going forward with Toriyama gone. Like, I mean, Toyotaro's still working on the manga. Does he know where Toriyama wanted to take things? I know they were working together on it, but it's really just interesting to think about how much is going to be like affected by Toriyama's passing. So many other big, like the creator of One Piece and Naruto, like have their own, they created their own works and inspired by Dragon Ball. Like those big franchises in shonen are all, they all trace back to Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball specifically. But so many kids in the West, and I'm sure you've heard about how much Mexico loves Dragon Ball, but so many of these people grew up with this series. This affects so many different people from different walks of life who watched Dragon Ball growing up and saw something special and felt something special. can't make that shit up. I guess I just kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit. I'm looking forward to Daima, and I'm looking forward to talking more about things I love from Dragon Ball, the things that made me a fan, you know, and I just wanted to say some stuff. So, thanks for listening.